CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a drowning investigation near St. Mary's. A teenage girl was swimming at Wildwood Conservation Area with her family last night, but went missing. Her body recovered about an hour later. With the latest, here's Krista Simpson.
Emergency responders, including Stratford Police and the St. Mary's Fire Department, were called to Wildwood Conservation Area Sunday evening after a 13-year-old girl from Hamilton, there visiting with family, disappeared under the water.
There's some murky areas on the bottom. I think she stepped into one and kind of sunk where she was stuck and wasn't able to pull herself up.
An attempt at creating a search chain in the water did not work. The conditions challenging.
Due to the water conditions being very dark and murky, some sand and some uneven areas at the bottom of the reservoir as well, it was difficult to conduct a search. However, with some sonar equipment provided by the fire department, we were able to locate the young girl about an hour after the search commenced. Her body was recovered. However, she was deceased at that time.
The teen was found within the swimming area, which is marked with buoys, but it is an unsupervised beach with signage indicating that.
There are actual the float safety rings present at each of those signs too, and that. So it is, really a situation where, it's parents and people that are, I guess, responsible for those in their party.
Most of the conservation area and the campground were open Monday, though the day use area was not, as the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority does its own review.
This would be a matter of, looking at that beach area, that waterfront area, the occurrences, and is there anything perhaps within our control that we're able to, kind of look at or address.
Krista Simpson, CTV News.
A 28-year-old woman was killed in a crash north of London early this morning. It happened just east of Granton around 7 a.m. Police say the woman was driving a pickup south on Perth Road 139 when she crossed over the northbound lane and hit a tree. They say she was the only one in the vehicle and was pronounced dead at the scene. According to police, she was not wearing a seatbelt, and officers say there's been a surge in recent deaths and serious injuries for similar reasons.
Vehicles have become much, much safer in the way that they're designed and the way that they're built. The only thing is you have to have your seatbelt on to be in that safety zone of the vehicle where you're designed to be.
Provincial police say one of their officers is in serious condition after they were hit by a driver who they say was trying to flee a traffic stop. According to police, the attempted traffic stop happened near St. Thomas. They say the suspect was driving a pickup truck hauling a boat, and they took off when the officer approached, hitting them with their vehicle. Neighbors later told CTV News several officers converged on a residence in downtown Shedden later that day, where they made an arrest.
When you do a traffic stop, and there's no such thing as routine. Personally, I've stopped vehicles where they've had a loaded handgun under the seat, and one thing leads to another, and it happens pretty quickly.
According to OPP, the injured officer has serious injuries but is expected to make a full recovery. Residents in a West London neighborhood want action on safety after a motorcycle rider was killed in a crash last week. As Rita Ismail reports, their concerns about one particular intersection go back years.
A tragic crash at Hyde Park Road and Fitzwilliam Boulevard has prompted area residents to call for immediate change. A man riding a motorcycle was killed just before 7 last Wednesday evening. Now neighbors are speaking out.
There have been ongoing issues at this intersection, especially for the last couple of years.
Pam Coolstring and Julia De Fonseca live just steps away from the intersection. In the days following the crash, they started a petition calling on the city to make the area safer, and they've already gathered 60 signatures.
To ask the city to reassess and to implement safety measures at the intersection of Hyde Park and Fitzwilliams Boulevard.
Emergency crews responded to the collision last week, but the motorcyclist died in hospital. The cause of the crash is still under investigation.
There's been at least 3 other accidents. I had part of our wall taken out by an accident about a year ago. And it's really dangerous.
Longtime residents say speeding and even street racing have become all too common.
I'm very concerned about it. volume, speed. You'll hear them racing down anytime after 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock in the morning. They're racing up and down Hyde Park.
TVDSB Director of Education Bill Tucker, who has lived in the area for 27 years, says families are increasingly worried.
It's scary, to be honest with you. And with grandchildren around, we have to make sure that we're holding hands and that we're with them crossing at the lights. So we have, as a community member, really noticed a pickup in the speed and the traffic in this area and neighborhood.
Ward 8 Councillor Steve Lehman says he's heard the concerns and is working with city staff on possible solutions.
I work constantly with our roads, our traffic folks, to see how we can mitigate these concerns and work to have a safer city for sure.
The petition calls for a full traffic calming assessment at Hyde Park and Fitzwilliam. It will be submitted to City Hall in the coming weeks. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
New insights today on the number of people using London's online booking portal for paratransit service. It's been available for months now, but it's being used by just 10% of passengers. Daryl Newcomb has more on the impact for the riders who are using it.
We could do better.
Over 2 years ago, Dr. Jeff Preston joined with other paratransit riders in London, calling for service improvements, including an online booking option to reduce wait times on the telephone. That system launched earlier this year.
Now that it's here, I have to say I'm happy. The portal is relatively smooth. It's modern design. I personally find it relatively easy to use.
The London Transit Commission received an update about the online portal for booking paratransit rides. According to staff, 447 individuals have registered, representing about 10% of active riders and 9% of daily trip bookings. That's already matching the uptake seen in other cities.
Based on industry average, between 10 to 20% of riders who use specialized transit at other areas would get onto the online booking system, and we're sitting about 10%, which is really good.
An initial surge in telephone calls each morning used to result in about a 45-minute backlog, but the online portal has reduced the pressure on the telephone line, which now each morning has just about a 25-minute wait.
That is relieving the pressure on the telephone line, so the people that are choosing to continue to use the telephone are also having a better experience.
That to me is a revolution in the service. That fundamentally changes people's lives. We're giving them back not just 20 minutes a day, but we're talking hours of life being given back to people on a week-to-week basis.
Dr. Preston expects use of the online portal will increase when the weather changes this fall. He urges London Transit to continue to encourage and educate riders about the online option, noting that new technology can be challenging and intimidating for some people.
This is why we push so hard for online booking, because the more users we're able to get into the online portal, the easier it's going to be for people who simply are not able to book their rides online.
Regardless of which booking system a rider uses, the LTC ensures fair and equal access to the available trips on paratransit. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
The children of two men who disappeared 30 years ago say they want closure. The official story? The pair were on a canoe trip and presumably drowned. As Scott Miller reports, their bodies were never recovered, though, and their kids remain unconvinced.
Victoria Weidman and Anthony Lipett were too young to remember the day their fathers, Irwin Lipett and Simon Kirk Weidman, went missing.
I was 6 months old when Dad went missing. All I was told at first is him and Kirk went out on a canoe ride and didn't come back. They ended up drowning out here.
Lipett and Weidman's canoe was found, half full of water, as were paddles and life jackets. But the bodies of the 24 and 25-year-old young fathers were never recovered. While they were presumed drowned, several sightings of the pair over the years has sparked questions about Lipett and Weidman's actual whereabouts.
The question has always been, did they actually go out in this canoe? Was it a ruse? There has been witness statements that come forward that said that they were seen the day or two after, even up to like a year after.
I couldn't imagine doing that and still being alive, which is something that's kind of been on our mind the entire time, right? Like, no body, no proof.
The Owen Sound-based missing persons investigators, Please Bring Me Home, are now on the case. They recognize trying to locate two men presumed drowned in Lake Huron 30 years ago is a very tall task.
Really difficult to run a search for somebody who's been missing for 30 years, let alone on Lake Huron. It's not impossible. A needle in a haystack would be easier, but it's not impossible.
It was just me doing it for years and years and years. Even my family wasn't really helping or saying too much at all. So it was such a relief to know that there was other people who would actually help and actually cared too, you know? I mean, he has a headstone that has no body underneath it. So I just kind of want an answer, whatever that answer is. Just one's fine.
I'm not going to get the answers I probably want to hear, but a closure for myself, for Tori, my kids, and my mom would be really nice.
They are somewhere. So, you know, we want to put in any effort that we can to locate these men.
In Bruce County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
More than 50,000 Canada Post employees began voting today on a new collective bargaining agreement. If they accept the deal, it would resolve a contentious 18 months of negotiation. However, as Paul Hollingsworth reports, union leaders have told workers to vote no.
Voting has started and employees are making a decision on what Canada Post calls its final offer. Canada Post is making a hard sell, encouraging unionized employees to vote yes on a new deal at a time when they say major changes are needed at the Postal Service.
Our parcel volume, our parcel share of the market has gone from almost 2/3 to just over 20%. Obviously, that's going the wrong direction.
But letter carrier and local union president Dwayne Corner is urging his fellow members to vote no on what he calls an unacceptable offer.
A lot of the members that we've spoken to on the floor they agree that the offer should be rejected.
A new collective bargaining agreement would see wages jump more than 13% while adding part-time workers. Concordia University economics professor Moshe Lander says the result of this vote could determine the future of Canada Post.
I have yet to understand why the government hasn't said we're going to shut this thing down in 5 years. I mean, if you say no to this, then for sure, you got 5 years, Canadians, figure out how you're going to live your lives without Canada Post, and we're done.
That is saber rattling. It's misrepresentation. The corporation has changed over the years, and the mail has dropped over the years. But there are ways for the corporation to make money.
Canada Post does remain popular with some Canadians, especially seniors.
It's supposed to be paid for by your taxes. It was created for that, as a service for Canadians.
It's a valuable service, especially for those of us who are seniors and are not computer literate.
Employees have the option to vote online or by phone. Voting will conclude on August 1st. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
It was Pride weekend in London, featuring more than 100 entries in this year's Pride Parade. Take a look.
So amazing to see such a fantastic turnout. You know, Londoners take Pride very seriously. It's a very accepting, progressive, and intelligent community that understands love is love.
Great. You know what? We're doing something really cool this year. We're doing a Pink Pony Club with our float here. Pink Pony Club is a huge song on Virgin Radio by Chapel Roan, so everyone's dressed in pink. We've got some ponies here, and this means a lot to us. We love being a part of the community here and just being, you know, accepting and you know, taking in the love that London has.
Love having Pride in July because it's like the party just keeps going on for Pride Month in June, and then we have the celebration here in London. It's all about inclusivity, acceptance. We see so many people come out for this. It's always bigger and bigger every year. Whether it's sunny over there, it's cloudy over there, it doesn't matter. It's great.
You can state that you are into equity and you're into supporting things. You need to model it and be a part of it. And I think for us that's very important for us. Just like the bus says here, everyone belongs in Thames Valley, and we are modeling that, and we want people to know that every student and family is welcome in Thames Valley.
Happy Pride! Happy Pride!
And leading this year's event, an honorary Grand Marshal recognized for her work not only supporting community members, but actively protecting them. Brent Lale reports.
A self-described rebel, Sister Patricia Darwin was front and center during the London Pride Parade.
It's a lifetime achievement. I've been an activist my entire life.
She's been recognized for her queer community activism. Wherever there's a drag story time in the region, Darwin and her band of guardians are likely there as protectors.
When I heard that there was trouble at the drag story times and the right-wing people were attending them and harassing the drag queens, I thought, well, I gotta go.
The group now has more than 1,000 members province-wide who protect performers, families, and children from anti-LGBTQS+ hate. The group was formed after a confrontation at a children's event in Park Hill in 2023, where her Win Sisters motorcycle club stepped in to fend off angry protesters.
It was a horrific show in Park Hill, and they attacked us verbally. You know, they interfered. They tried to get into the story time. And I'm like, it's performers dressed up, reading stories to children. And their obsession with that is unbelievable.
Her group of guardians often surround their performers during story time when they're at their most vulnerable.
I've dealt with a lot of hatred in my day, and one of the biggest and worst events I can remember was a story time in Ingersoll, Ontario, where the Guardians were there and they had their flags and the kids could come in peacefully. We were literally surrounded by haters within the library themselves, holding up signs all around us. But the Guardians slipped in between and created this entire barrier around.
A proud butch lesbian from Quebec, she encourages people to celebrate who they are every moment of every day. During Saturday's drag story time at Victoria Park, there were the usual protesters, but fewer and fewer are showing up recently.
I don't back down, and they know that. I do not step back. We're here to support our community, and I'm going to stand right in front of you, and I'm not moving. And they know that, and it makes them a little bit nuts.
Brent Leo, CTV News.
Still ahead, unlike Jeffrey Epstein, it's the story that refuses to die. The president's increasingly erratic attempts at distraction in the face of mounting public pressure. Canada's main stock index lost steam throughout the trading day, closing just a few points higher. In New York, the Dow lost 19, the Nasdaq added 79. The Canadian dollar is up 0.14 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold gained nearly $50 an ounce, and oil dropped a dime a barrel. Canada's premiers and territorial leaders are meeting in the Muskokas this week with more on their priorities ahead of a trade deadline for a trade deal. Here's Rachel Aiello.
Well, first of all, I want to welcome everyone.
Premiers today kicked off the annual Summer Council of the Federation meeting at a critical time for the country.
Right now, our economy in all Canada suffers because of the uncertainty.
Facing intensifying tariff pressure from the U.S. and a looming deadline to reach a new trade deal, premiers have come to cottage country to work together to find ways to drive Canadian prosperity.
How are you feeling, Premier? I'm feeling fantastic.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford is hosting the three-day meeting and started it off calling for a revived Buy Canadian push in every province and territory.
Start buying Canadian-made everything. We are an economic powerhouse, and we don't have to take a backseat to anyone.
Beyond buying local, premiers say Canada needs to build. And so today, they met with Indigenous leaders to talk about moving major new nation-building energy and infrastructure projects forward, an effort to find a way to get to a yes faster, while still ensuring First Nations leaders are consulted.
It's time now in 2025 that First Nations are at the table and that we have a bigger seat in this country.
Provincial and territorial leaders are also aiming to advance internal trade pacts while here, carrying on with work they've been doing this year to break down domestic barriers and find new markets.
These are all steps. They're steps in the right direction. We need to have free and open trade between our provinces. We need to have free and open trade on our continent with the U.S. and Mexico.
Tonight, premiers will be having dinner at Ford's nearby family cottage, a private planning session ahead of a big meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney tomorrow. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Huntsville, Ontario.
Good evening. I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. Ridge high pressure has kept things clear and beautiful. Lots of sunshine across the Great Lakes, in particular for the lower Great Lakes today. And as we get closer, we're looking at a clear sky through tonight into tomorrow morning. That bodes well for a sunny Tuesday, and it looks like we'll hold on to fair weather. That is sunshine and temperatures in the mid-20s, feeling comfortable with not too much humidity through Wednesday before things change up. I'll break down what you need to know for the rest of the week. It's coming up here on CTV News.
Welcome back with Gary Archibald tonight. And Gary, plenty of sunshine to start the week today, and it sounds like we're in for a little bit more tomorrow.
You're right about that, Carlyle. I think Tuesday is going to be just a slight bit warmer, but still sunny. Ridge of high pressure should be in control, essentially keeping us clear and fair. Temperatures have been, well, just a few degrees below seasonal. Average high at this time of the year, 27, reached 24 today. The low of 13 could be even lower tomorrow morning before dawn, closer to maybe 11 or 12 degrees Celsius. Just cooler northerly influence at the surface, really not much humidity of late, even since the weekend. But yesterday into today, we knew that the winds were going to help cool us off with a cooler air coming from a northerly direction, and humidity was held in check, and of course the air quality improved. Got rid of that stagnant, polluted, smoke-filled air of last week. The rainfall tallies over the next 24 to 48 hours, not seeing much of anything. I don't anticipate even morning fog patches. I think it's going to be sunny. I think it's going to be the kind of day where the skies truly are blue. It's going to be beautiful. We'll reach a high of 28. That's seasonal for this time of the year. And then just get a bit warmer through Wednesday and still holding on to that sunshine. 34, though, on Thursday does feel warmer, closer to about 38, 39. Showers possible, mostly cloudy from Thursday through to the weekend. And temperatures in the upper 20s. We'll be in the upper 20s by Monday. And back to fair weather, a mixture of sun and cloud. The Midwest, take a look at highs and lows anticipated over the next 7-day stretch. Sunny for the next 2 days. And then Thursday into Friday, see an increasing probability stat from 30% to 60% in terms of likelihood of an occurrence of showers. Showers for the weekend are possible. Relative stat is low at 30% in terms of the chances or the odds. And then Monday, back to fair weather, a mixture of sun and cloud, and a high of 23. So temperatures are going to go up, level off a bit, and then decline. We'll see a decrease over the next 7 days. Wherever you are, use that sunblock, that sunscreen, protect yourselves, and let's watch out for each other as things warm up towards Thursday afternoon.
Thank you, Gary. It's the story that just won't go away for President Donald Trump. The pressure over his administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files is mounting, with many in his own party and MAGA supporters demanding they be released. With the latest, here's Joy Malbon.
The U.S. president should be celebrating his political wins. Instead, he's struggling to distract from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, posting phony AI pictures of Barack Obama being arrested, showing Democrats behind bars, and posting people doing, well, bizarre things. Anything, it seems, to change what's become a national obsession over the convicted sex offender who preyed on young women and his so-called client list.
Jeffrey Epstein was a friend of Donald Trump. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested during the Trump administration. And the Trump administration is running scared. What are they hiding from the American people? Release the files.
Trump ordered the Justice Department to request all grand jury testimony related to Epstein, pending a judge's approval and the impact on Epstein's victims.
The president has said if the Department of Justice and the FBI want to move forward with releasing any further credible evidence, they should do so. As to why they have or have not or will, you should ask the FBI about that.
The New York Times reported Trump might appear in the Epstein files after an accuser says she told the FBI twice about an encounter with Trump. One way to get to the bottom of it, says Epstein's former lawyer, call his co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving prison time, to testify.
She is the Rosetta Stone. She knows everything. She arranged every single trip.
Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, a life-saving piece of equipment donated by a local charity. As Lauren Stallone reports, the defibrillator contribution was made in memory of a fallen London firefighter.
A peculiar new addition at Byron Woods Montessori School, but it could be a lifesaver.
We're here to donate our 216th defibrillator. This one is in memory of Donald Very, who was a captain in the London Fire Department.
He'd be quite humble about it, not to make a big deal of it.
But he'd be very, very grateful for life-saving measures to be available to people in a time of need.
The device was donated by the David Mounsey Memorial Fund, a charity that donates AED defibrillators in memory of law enforcement, fire, paramedic, and military members killed in the line of duty.
It's common for us to know the name of somebody who gave their life, but it's the families that carry that on. And by them sharing their stories with us, that person's legacy continues to live.
Patrick Armstrong started the fund in honor of his beloved friend and fellow OPP officer Dave Mounsey, who was killed in the line of duty in 2006.
He and his partner Brenda raised the money to donate a defibrillator to the local fire department, where Dave was a volunteer firefighter as well. And so after that donation that Dave unfortunately didn't live to see, myself and some like-minded people decided to continue that last act of kindness towards community.
Since 2009, the fund has saved 7 lives.
All of these professions are about saving people, and they're about being there at the right time, and that's what a defibrillator is.
And while the hope is that they'll never have to use it, the device will continue to save lives while honoring those who already gave theirs. Lauren Stallone, CTV News, London.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.